Hey guys, what's up? This is Chris with RC Madness, and this is going to be a video on how to mount your dual battery trays on the Slash 4x4. As you can see, I've got the RPM Nerf bars on there, and that's what you're going to want for this dual battery setup. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and get my battery trays. Here they are right here. Go ahead and cut the bag open. Pull them on out of here. Now, I've purchased from Techno a few times before, and they make very quality stuff. I'm going to be experimenting with the Techno center drive shaft on this car as well. And I've had a few eighth scale buggies with Techno conversions on them, and I absolutely love them. As you can see, that's a pretty solid battery tray right there. I mean, it's flexible, which is what you would expect because it's not very thick, but that's a nice battery tray right there. So basically, how this is going to work, I'm going to mount these on here like that. Each of those battery trays, now let me see if I can get it to keep from sliding, but I'm going to have a battery tray on this side and a battery tray on this side. Because for speed, I want my weight as even as possible. And I'm going to put the ESC where the normal batteries go, where the normal battery tray is. So then I'll have the motor. My motor is actually going to be in the center. I've got a center mount coming by Jess. So I'm going to go ahead and put the motor in the center, but I'm going to have the servo up here, and I'll have the ESC. I'll really have to see once I get everything mounted to see where the ESC should go, because with the not being an ESC or a motor over here, I'm going to go ahead and put my receiver box over here, and then my servo up there. So it might, in the long run, even out. I might have to put one or two weights on this side, and then just put the ESC here, which then it would even out. And it would be an even weight distribution through the whole car. So that's about how much that is. So let me figure out how I'm going to mount these battery trays and come right back. So as you can see, I have the battery tray mostly mounted. I was really looking at the way of how to do this. I wasn't sure, so I had to do a lot of thinking and a lot of looking, and I figured it out. So basically what I did, I took my battery straps, and these are just the Traxxas Spartan battery straps. They'll hold it in perfectly fine with no problems, and I just ran those through the normal battery holes that are already cut. As you can see, I just ran them around, back up through to where they would be able to strap over. So you just run those the normal way. To hold this side to the Nerf bar, you're going to go ahead and run two black zip ties, or white, whatever color you want to run. You're going to run two zip ties around, zip tie them very tight, and I just pushed them back up in here so they wouldn't, see how you can't see them sticking out if you look through there. So you went ahead and cut them off, pushed them back there, and that will hold that from popping up like this. As you can see, I cannot move it up like that. To hold this side, because right now it will go like this, if you can see. So to hold this side down, you got to take a drill, and you got to be very careful, and you got to get the correct length of screw. I'll give you an exact length on that in a minute. You're going to go ahead and you're going to drill two holes through these normal battery mount holes. Drill them straight through, and you're going to see that you can get those right here and right here. So get those through, take your screw, and I actually just got the screws today, so I'm going to go ahead and open those while we're doing the video, but go ahead and take your screw, and I have the exact length somewhere. I got the screw that fit, because the thing is, what's nice about those holes that you drill there, if you drill them, the screw won't have to go through the bottom of the chassis. It actually goes down into this Nerf bar, because there's a gap behind here. So it goes into that gap, and then you won't be able to see it on the other side of the chassis. And it holds it great with no problems. So let's see. Looking at the screws, this is a screw kit from Z Screws. It's a stainless screw kit. As you can see, you get all these separate little bags of screws. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 bags of screws. Let's see if I can find the one with the correct length. I'm looking through right now. I believe it is one of these. So basically, just the way to check to see if you have the correct length is to go ahead, and I'm thinking it's one of these. I don't have my other screw with me right now, but I'm thinking I can use this. So basically all you're going to want to do is take this screw, push it down through this hole, and like that one there is too short. Even with me pushing it down, it won't have enough room to thread through. You're going to want it a little bit longer. So I'm going to have to go ahead and find a little bit longer of a screw for that. Let's see if it's in this bag here. Now I'm thinking it might be these two here, which I'll get you an exact length of these if this is a screw. But see, basically all you have to do is push it down through this hole. Like that one there is perfect. It's got a little bit of extra room at the top, so that's how far it will screw in once it screws through that hole. And that hopefully won't be too far to push through the bottom of the Nerf bar. You'll feel if it's pushing it on it, and it gets really tight up here when you're trying to screw it. So let me get my wrench and go ahead and start screwing that in. And if this one is the one that works, I'll get you an exact length on it so you know. Let me go ahead and put it down here so I have something to press on. And see, because you drilled those holes and they're not exactly meant for a screw, you're going to have to really push some pressure on there to get it started and going. So now that that's going, just get it a little bit tight. Maybe get a few screws on it. And you can see where there's still a gap there. That will all be filled in. So let's go ahead and get the other screw started since we have it out. And let me get a quick measurement of this and let you know. I'm trying to find a good ruler here. So this one is about 1.5 inches. If you were going by inches, it would be about 1.5. And that should be pretty good. But again, you could check by seeing if it gets really tight. By the time you screw it all the way, and this gap is gone right here. I don't know if you can see that exactly, but there's a little gap here. Once that gap is gone, if the screw won't screw any farther, then you've got too long of a screw. And all you have to do is back it out and get a shorter screw. So I've got my other hole drilled in this side. Move it around to where it'll get started. Let me go ahead and put this screw in and I'll be right back. So now that I've got those screws in, that battery tray is not going anywhere. It is tight as can be. It's not going to come off. My battery straps will still work. They don't have a ton of room to slide because they're tightened onto the back here, but you got to make them to the length you want. So like you want it to be able where this will be right on the side of your battery or right on the top, but you also have room to go around and Velcro it. So I already set it up to the correct length I'd need, which is where those are. So there's one battery tray on. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do the other one while I have it all here so you guys know exactly how to do it. So basically what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to take your Techno battery tray. And again, the part number for this is TKR40006. And that is the universal battery tray, V3. As you can see, that's about it. So that's all you need right there. Go ahead and take it. You're going to put it on this side. And what I'm going to do to go ahead and get it started, I'm going to go ahead and take my 2 black zip ties. And I'm just going to run those. And you got to look at this side. So as you can see, there's where I mounted them. One is on there and about the middle, and one is on there and about the middle. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Going to get that started. Go through there. And I'm just going to lightly tighten them up. Just enough to hold it there so I can work with it. And as you can see, I'm running the zip tie down through and back around. That way I can push it around like that. So you're just going to get those started on there like that. Then you're going to go ahead, and let me grab it real quick. Get your drill and your drill bits. And I believe the hole I used was 3/32. And I'm just going to make sure with this. So let me check real quick. Because basically what you want this to do, and I'm just going to drill a hole in the table real quick just to test. I drill holes all the time, as you can see. But let's just drill a hole real quick just to check. So as we see, we got our hole there. And what you're going to want this to do, you're going to want this, that when you put a lot of pressure on this screw, you're going to want it to be able to screw through that hole. And since my table is about the same material as the chassis, it's a pretty good comparison. So you want to be able to put some pressure on there and get it to start, which that right there is not it. So I'm going to go ahead, and the next size up, as you can see, is 7/64. So let's go ahead and take that one out. Because I don't exactly remember the exact size I used, let's go ahead and try this. Just drill this hole a little bit bigger and see if the screw will screw into that. And you want it to be tight when screwing it. If it's too loose, it'll strip out and won't be too good. Like that right there, that's about it. I'm going to try that. That should be it. And that is 7/64 on the size. So basically what we're going to do, unscrew that. We're going to go to our chassis here, and that one's already mounted. This side, you're going to move it up, and you want, as you can see, that side is not completely flush with that because that's after I screwed it, but you want that pretty flush with that side there and pretty in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and see exactly if I can get that exactly centered. Move that to about right there. That's pretty close to centered there. And see, I will be able to know too once I drill the hole, because you can see where one of them is right inside, right in front of that hole there, and one is right in front of it, right behind that one there. So that's all you really need to do. So get your screw close, your drill bit close enough to it, and just drill it right where it's flush with this side. So let me see if I can figure this out here and show you once I drilled the hole. So there we go, guys. Sorry I pretty much skipped all of what I did, but basically what I figured out once I did it again, because I actually messed up this hole here, and you can see where it's not flush here, but it is up here, and it actually sticks a little bit off, but it's pretty much, it's good enough that I don't need to fool with it too much. It's pretty even and pretty good, but as you can see, there's the dual battery trays mounted side by side, and I'm going to be running my new SPC lipos, one there and then one on the other side. That'll just give it more weight distribution. But basically, while I was off camera, what I did, and I decided that this was a quicker, better, easier way, I went ahead and tightened those zip ties all the way. Where at first I told you to keep them big and leave them out, go ahead and tighten them all the way. But before you tighten them, slip your Velcro straps through. Do them to how you want, just for whatever size battery you're using, to get them to the length you want, because once you screw it down, it's not pulling back through too easily. It'll pull back through, but just not, like it won't slide around the tray, if you know what I mean. But go ahead, tighten those down all the way. Go ahead, once you've tightened them down, push this battery tray, push the bottom of it flush with the top. Take your drill your hole, and you got to drill it on a diagonal, so be careful on that. And that's where I messed up here. It sort of slipped around and went too far, which made that pop out more, but it's not too big of a deal. Drill your holes, drill one of them, get the screw started, hold this other side flush to the top, drill that, get that one started, and then tighten them down evenly. Tighten this one a little bit, tighten that one a little bit, go back and forth until they're completely tight. And the thing about how you're mounting this is, it will allow you to tighten it all the way to where the battery tray is bending. So, on this side, I had this battery tray bent too far down. I had this one too much tightened. So back it out a little bit until that's completely flat. As you can see, it's a pretty flat battery tray right now. As you can see, there's a little bit of a bend there if you look hard enough, but it's good enough. I put my battery on there, and it's perfect. So that's how you mount your dual battery trays. Let's get into building the rest of the car next. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment below.